Good evening. In this series of video, we will be learning about Trigo ratio. So what is Trigo ratio? Trigo ratio is some important function that will allow us to find the length as well as angle in a right angle triangle. And the key to doing this type of question is knowing your tua, ka, as well as so. So what is tua, ka, so? Tua, ka, so basically means Bigfoot lady! So please copy down the lesson objective. In this video, you'll learn how to find the angles of a right angle triangle when you are given two sides. And the key to doing so is knowing your Bigfoot lady or your tua, ka, as well as so. So pause this video and copy down the objective. Before we begin, it is important for you to know the name of the sides of a right angle triangle. During your lesson of Pythagoras theorem, you should have learned that the side that is opposite the right angle or the longest length of a right angle triangle is known as the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. So this is also the hypotenuse. Next, we have two sides more, and depending on which angle we are interested in, the name can be different. So let's say we are interested in this angle, we call it angle X, and we are interested in this angle down here, we call it angle Y. So when we are talking about this angle, the side that is opposite this angle, it actually have a very creative name. So the opposite side to this angle X is called the opposite side. O-P-P-O-S-I-T-E. So this is called the opposite side, while the length which the angle is touching is called the adjacent side. A-D. So for angle Y, make a smart guess what is the name of this opposite side which it is not touching at all. It is of course called the opposite side. And the angle the side which angle Y is touching is called the adjacent side. A-D-J-A-C-E-N. So make sure you know which side is the opposite side and which side is the adjacent side. So to make it simple, for hypotenuse, I will short form it as H. Opposite side will be O. Then adjacent side, I will be using A. Clear? So please copy this down. For this part of the video, it's actually not very important that you really go and understand the meaning of this. But it will be good for you to understand to improve your appreciation. If not, you can still apply what is more important. So I have two triangles down here. Let's call this angle X and call this angle Y. Now, as you can see, the adjacent length of angle X and angle Y is the same. However, the opposite side, it is of different length. So visually, is angle X or angle Y larger? So clearly, angle X is a lot smaller than angle Y. So depending on the ratio of the adjacent side, the opposite side, and in some way the hypotenuse, because three of them are connected, it will affect the size of the angle. The longer the opposite sides, the larger will be the angle. So even though the adjacent side is the same length, angle X is smaller than angle Y because the opposite side of X is smaller than the opposite side of Y. So this is where the ratio comes in. The ratio of X is smaller than the ratio of Y, to put it in a simple term. So from this ratio, we can actually figure out what is the value of X and what is the value of Y. And the name of this Trigo ratio, you can actually find them inside your calculator. You should be able to see TAN, COS, as well as SIN on your calculator. TAN is called tangent, COS is called cosine, SIN is called sine. So together they form Trigo ratio. And just bear in mind, when we talk about ratio, let's say 1:4, we can actually write it as 1/4. We can write it as a fraction, and this will be what we are going to do for rest of this video, writing ratio as a fraction. Now, before we get the lesson started, make sure your calculator is in degree mode. How do you know whether your calculator is in degree mode? Just look at the top. Is there a D on top? If there's no D, doesn't matter. Just go and press the reset button because by default, your calculator is set as degree mode. So if you do not know whether your calculator is in degree mode, go and reset it to change it to degree mode. Then we can start our calculation. So let us take a look at this question. In this question, we want to find what's the value of angle X as well as the value of angle Y with the information that we are given. So let us start off with angle X. Take a look at what side we are given. For 15, it is the adjacent side. While for 8, it is the opposite side of X. Now, take a look at our tua castle. Which one has O and A inside? T. T for tangent. So we write down tangent, the angle X is equal, we'll follow the ratio of opposite over adjacent. Opposite side is 8, so we write 8 as the numerator. Then denominator is 15. So let me repeat. We first identify what are the sides that we have. In this case, we have opposite side as well as adjacent side. We look at tua castle, which function have O and A. It is the tua function or the tangent. So we use tangent. Tangent the angle, tangent X is equals to this ratio, 8/15. Next, we really want to find what is the degree of X. So in equation, what we like to do is to move the things that we do not want over to the other side. So what we have to do is to move tangent over to the other side. But every time when we move something over equal sign, we must change it to the opposite. So what is opposite of tangent? So we write X is equals to, because we have moved the tangent over, it will change to tangent inverse. How do we write this? Is tangent, then power of -1. 8 over 15. So try to locate tangent -1 in your calculator. It shouldn't be too difficult, because for normal calculator, it is just the shift or the second function, then you press tangent. Then you should get this tangent to the power of -1, or what we call tangent inverse. Tangent inverse. So what you have to do next is to key in tangent inverse, then 8 over 15, and you should get your answer of 28.1 degree. So this is a round up. Okay, try this out and copy this down. Next, we are interested in finding out what is the value of angle Y. So let me erase the sides. Now for angle Y, 8 is not the opposite angle. Instead, 8 is the adjacent angle, while 15 is now the opposite side. Again, we are given adjacent as well as opposite. So which function should we use? Tangent have O and A inside, so we continue to use tangent. So what we write is tangent Y, because now we are interested in finding Y, is equal to opposite over adjacent. Now, opposite side is now 15, while the adjacent side is now 8. Same thing, we move our tangent over. Y is equals to, so when tangent is moved over, it changes to tangent inverse. (15 over 8). So once you have this, it's actually pretty straightforward. You press your calculator and you should have your answer of tangent inverse 15 over 8. You should get 61.9 degree. Again, this one is to 1 decimal place. So you can see that we are correct, because both angle X as well as angle Y will add up to 90 degree. So copy this down. We will look at 2 other examples. The next example we have here is another triangle, and of course it must be a right angle triangle. So let's start off with finding X. To find the unknown angle, remember we must first identify what are the sides which we are given. So 8 is the side that angle X is touching. So this is called the adjacent side. 10 is opposite the right angle. So this is the hypotenuse. So now we are given A and H. Which of these Trigo function have A and H? So we will be using cosine, and remember it is A over H. So we write down our equation. Cosine X is equals to, adjacent side is 8 over hypotenuse, which is 10. Same thing as tangent, we move our cosine over. So you will get x is equals to cosine inverse 8 over 10. Again, go to your calculator and find where is cosine inverse. Basically, it's just shift or second function, cosine, and you get cosine inverse. Then you press in the fraction 8 over 10, and you will get 36.9 degree. Simple. Copy this down. And we will try to find angle y. So let me erase. For angle y, 8 is no longer the adjacent side. 8 is now the opposite side. So we write O. 10 is of course still the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse will never change. It will always be opposite the right angle and the longest side of a triangle. So which of these Trigo ratio have O and H? It is of course sine. So we must take O over H. So instead of writing cosine, we write sine. Y is equals to, opposite is 8 over hypotenuse, which is 10. Move the sign over. So once it cross over the equal sign, it will change to the opposite of sine, which is sine inverse. By now, you should not have problem finding where is sine inverse. Sine inverse is basically second function of shift sine. Then you type 8 over 10, and you should get y is equals to 53.1 degree. And this will be your answer. So copy this down. So in conclusion, there are just 3 simple steps to follow in finding the angle. We must first identify the name of the sides which you are given. Then pick whether we want to use tangent, cosine or sine according to the given sides. Then we apply our Bigfoot lady or tua castle to form the equation, and we just have to solve the equation to get the value of the angle. Next, I have 4 questions for you to try out. Please try it out on your own. Pause the video and try them out. If you want the answer, they are down here. Please check your answer accordingly. For angle C and D, they are the same value because the ratio of the 2 sides are actually the same. If any of you have any trouble finding the angle, I will give you some hint. So if you need to do correction, for angle A, you are supposed to use sine. Angle B, tangent. Angle C and D, use your cosine. And this will be all for this lesson.